And when it fails, guess what? You got to roll around looking like every other car sometimes when this window works and the back one doesn't. I love that look is fine, but on this car, it just doesn't cut it. It just don't do it. Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's 3D the Rap Star, aka is the Benz Man. Welcome to the channel. Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's 3D the Rap Star, aka is the Benz Man. Make sure you follow me on my Instagram at It's the Benz Man. That's ITSTHEBENZMAN. And don't forget to follow the merch page also at Bite of the Bag Clothing, right there on the screen. And in today's video, I'm gonna talk about the 7 major headaches of owning a CL550 and things like that. But before we get into it, you know what we gotta do. Let's get some angles. What's up, everybody? So the engine is running. Look at this thing, it's crazy. It's about only like 65 degrees out here and this thing is hot. Never mind it being dirty. I don't really clean the engine head. It's just a cover anyway. The engine is pretty clean. I remember one post, I think a subscriber said, oh, clean the engine, but it's not really the engine, it's just the engine cover, and it's just a little dusty, but it's pretty clean. And so the first headache I do want to talk about is what I just fixed, are the motor mounts. No matter what Mercedes you got, especially the V8s, especially the high-end Mercedes, your motor mounts are gonna go out. And I actually, when I was washing my car, I actually talked to a guy that said he owned 2, not 1, but 2 AMGs, and he said the motor mounts went out on both of them. I had an E320, my motor mounts went out on that one. I also still have this CL right here. My motor mounts went out on this one. And as a little insider, he said those little rubber seals that sit there, they're not even designed to even take the car. They're just there in place. These engines, which I kind of already knew this, is that these engines are too powerful for the motor mounts and for the engine mounts and mounts in general on these cars. So they will go out. But every time I used to rev up the engine, even right here, the engine will lift up and go like this, and go like this, and it'll go like this. But now when I get in, oh, I'm at that calm, I'm at that peace to know that the engine is idle. And even on the camera, it used to go like this. It used to have a shake like when I start the car up. Now, nothing. But the average price of that, especially on a car like this, is around $1,000. Mine were $995, which is basically $1,000. And that's crazy because all it is just the little seals that sit in place that holds the engine on the rack to the mount. So number one, I'm gonna say the engine mounts. That's the first headache because they can go out twice a year. Even inside the car now, it's not hecka vibrating, but I still feel vibration from here and there, like I'm on starting the car, putting it in drive just a little bit. But they are fixed, but this big old motor is hard to turn and hard to run without those mounts, and the mounts are gonna end up collapsing again. Why? Because these engines are too powerful, and on these cars, you know, who's really gonna drive them like going under 20 miles an hour? My number 2 is going to be the second headache of owning this car. And these cars are beautiful, I will say. These cars are beautiful. I know people always come to my page and say, oh, I left for some time, came back, and you still having problems. I actually haven't had problems with this car ever since I fixed it recently. So we're going to lift the suspension up. I'm actually scared. I haven't did this in a long time. So we're going to lift it up. But this car's been really good to me ever since I got the mounts back, which was maybe like 2 months ago. So upon lifting the suspension up, That's gonna be number 2 on the headache list. Subs, I spent over, I want to say $5 grand on suspension products alone, being control arm struts, ball joints, whether it be in a tire rod, something on the suspension will go out. And as of right now, I still need suspension work done. As of right now, my suspension is still about 2 grand in, but that's what you get when owning these cars. So I do want to inform the potential person that is looking for a CL about these problems. So 1, being your mounts will go out and they can fail. 2, it's going to be anything suspension related. And the system is so soft, and the system is so, what is that word I'm looking for? Like, you just can't touch it. It can't get dirty. It can't get, if it even get dirty, the suspension can fail on you, which the whole suspension can lean and go to the ground. You ever seen those Mercedes, those older Mercedes, when they're leaning and when they're sitting like leaned all the way down towards the ground? That's because their suspension have completely failed, all the hydraulics. And this is the ABC suspension. The Airmatic is a little better than the ABC, which people always ask me that. Yes, the Airmatic is a little better. It's updated system. It's not as complicated as this system. So they don't really know. They can't say you could pay 2 grand on your suspension today and then tomorrow something to fail on it. Why? Because it's just another component. There's so many components to keeping the suspension up and running that it's hard to go by just one thing. Just look how big this thing is. Look at this size. This is crazy. In person, the camera, you may can't see it or do it justice, but in person, this thing is huge. Just look at that front fascia. Look at that front grille. It's a real wide car. It's wide. The third headache I do want to talk about is the electronics on the inside. Oh, it's not the worst as an E-Class. And if you don't have a CL, but you do have a Benz in general, just take in some of these tips, because it's kind of like the same 7 headaches that you may go through that I'm going through. So another thing on this car is the electronics sometimes fail. So right now, my disc player, this opens, and I know who's still listening to discs anyway, right? So it still opens, it still loads, they all still load up, but when you put the thing in there, the CD in there, guess what? It doesn't come on. And I'm going to tie that in with Bluetooth. So for the 2008 model, it had all these features, and it does have Bluetooth, but you do got to get a thing called tune to air or anything. A lot of people also ask me this. A lot of subscribers say, hey, how can I get my Bluetooth to work? Well, what you need to do is you need to go to a stereo company and have them put in an adapter. Just say, do you have an adapter for the Bluetooth? So then that way it's going to connect to your head Bluetooth, and it's going to act like one of the newer cars, and it'll search for your phone when you get in the car. Otherwise, we're stuck with this, with the iPhone jack. And as you can see, my iPhone's plugged in. So that's the only way I can listen to music for now. So 3 is going to be the electronics, and being that the Bluetooth was so complicated. Look, it has the phone thing right here. So it has the Bluetooth in the phone. Never mind the little stuff right there. So that's going to be my number 3 on the list. Them electronics and that Bluetooth, so we couldn't hook up the music so easily. Oh yeah, and sometimes the clock malfunctions also due to the auxiliary battery not being set or not being charged or in place or something like that. And sometimes else when I'm rolling up the window, sometimes the window go halfway back down. And sometimes the back windows don't want to roll up all the way, but you got to press it again. It's weird. That's a complicated thing. So that's my number 3. And my number 4 is going to be the repair prices in general. Man, wow, this thing, I thought buying the 550, it was going to be cheap. Yes, it's cheaper because the 63 AMG, the prices are double. Like say for brakes all together and rotors all the way around, I'll pay $1,200. If you got the AMG same year, same version, you're paying about like $2,400 out of pocket for the same thing. But I will say repair prices. But then who gets a Mercedes-Benz and worry about what the repair prices are? Well, kind of, we all do. A lot of people say that on the internet that don't have the car. Oh, if you got that car, then you shouldn't be asking how much the repair price is, how much is the oil change, how much is this? And I will say, the oil change is actually not that bad. Why? Because I got a Corolla, which I got to service it every 3 months, right? So get this, I got to service it every 3 months, and servicing that car is like $80. Or let's just round it up, say 100 if you get the air filter and everything. So that's $100. So that's $100 every 3 months. So you do the math, about $400 a year, because it only need 1 oil change a year. But I'm still gonna say the repair prices, because guess how much just to fix the control head unit in the car? That was averaging $1,000. I still love it because just look at it. It just never lost its styling in the car. Like 2008 could still look so good. So that's my number 4. Them prices can be, woo, they could be steep. But who gets a Mercedes, right, and complain about the prices, right? Especially a flagship model at the time like a CL. So that's my 4th. Number 5, I think all my subs knew this was coming. The window components. If you ever owned a CL550, a 500, a 63, a 65, whatever one in your market, whatever one you own, these went, oh, this is just so gorgeous. Look at that pillarless frame. I just love that pillarless look. But one of the main things that I just don't care for are the way the windows, the motor. Oh, I'm stuttering just because I can't even get out like how much is just a like, okay, so here we go. Put the engine to the on position. Roll up the windows. And see how this one got stuck? Now you got to press it again. But that's actually a safety feature, so nothing doesn't get caught in the hinges when it detects something. But guess what? There's nothing right there. So why is it doing that? Okay, so let's talk about this. The windows, to me, go out on these cars far too early. Far too early. My bro, he had the 63 and his went out. His back window stopped working and mine's also stopped working. But his stopped working with like 36K on the AMG. Yeah, it was a 2008, but 36K, it didn't really live enough for it to go out. And just look, I love this, that it just go up by itself. That's a good feature. All that's good and all, but the power window will fail. And when it fails, guess what? You got to roll around looking like every other car sometimes when this window work and the back one doesn't. I love that look, is fine, but on this car, it just doesn't cut it. It just don't do it. It just don't work. So what was the best part about one of these CLs? There it is. There's the look. Just look at that look. Just go with the lines of the car. And here's a little fun fact. This rooftop alone weighs a lot. It weighs a lot. That's why the cars, the CLs are not, they're fast and have AMGs, but not as fast as a race car, because they have to put extra pounds and extra weight so this thing won't roll over due to that, due to us getting that pillarless frame. Basically, all other cars has that little window right here where it blocks some of the window off. Besides a Bentley GT and besides a CL and a new S Coupe, just it's a rare few that have it. But that's the number 5. That's what I'm gonna say. The windows, these windows go out far too early to be power windows. It almost make you wish that you had the old windows. And I could have put it under the electronic category, but I didn't, because each thing I'm gonna talk about from here on out like works as its own. I'm talking about the inside electronic computer. The windows, the power windows, are kind of on its own regulator, on its own motor. And number 6, this is gonna be quick. This is a headache. If you guys notice, you know I have my window like this for quite some times. I know you guys can see that. I know the subs on the star status can see that. So the window's been like that quite some time. Why? Because they want $1,500 starting just for the OEM glass. $1,500 starting. So that's another thing I'm gonna say. Just money pit. Money pit. These cars are almost like money pits. I want to say it is and it's not. I have my off days and my on days to where I say, because the car's been extra good to me and I haven't been having no problems. But in that same breath, when things do go wrong with it, oh, it's bad, it's terrible. So that's the number 6. Every little component, like let the mirror break off, or let one of these lights come out. Oh yeah, and guess what? I don't know if it'll show, but if I cut the lights on, another malfunction will come on. And this is another thing that I can't stand about it, and that gives me a headache, like that everything just go out. This is number 6. This is my number 6. It go hand in hand with what I just talked about, like everything being so high. This is number 6. Check this out. And the reason why I'm giving this one its own category is because it's lights. So the lights on this car are perfect. They are good. But look what it's saying. Check front left side marker lamp. Okay, let's go check it. Okay, now where's the front left side marker lamp? This is the right, this is the left. So everything looks on to me. So where's the lamp out at? Maybe you guys know and I don't know. That little light looks like it's on. and that little light looked like it's on. But guess what? I took it into the dealer, and guess what they said? They said, oh yeah, it is a little light that's out, but that's gonna be $1,000 just for us to look at it. So $1,000 just to look at, that's pretty high. So that's my number 6, is every component of the car just being, and I guess that just goes hand in hand of how just they made them. Just look at how they curve. But how the heck is a front side lamp marker out and a side lamp marker $1,000? Crazy. That gives me a headache just thinking about it, because that's just too much money for a light and just too much money for a window. So wow, he's cool revving it up. Maybe that was for the subs. So number 7. So the last real headache for me is gonna be another thing hand in hand. So it's gonna be like, just watch this, and this is on my car. You know, the starters can go out on here and your alternator can go bad. I see that a lot. So foot on the brake, watch how it sounds. Like, see how sometimes it kind of stutter before it starts. And another thing to go hand in hand with that is the seats. I don't even use the massaging seats. Why? Because I know they're gonna go out. One time I used the lumbar and it left my back sticking out. So now when I use it, I don't really care to like push it out, or I don't really use it like when people want to use the massaging. I'll let somebody use it to get a massager in the passenger seat, but I don't use it. I just keep it in the car for show. And I use it sometime, but majority of the time I'm not using it. And I learned something. The best, look, there it goes, the light's on again. The best model is the base model. Why? Because you don't have all these extra features that you got to worry about. So that's my 7 top headaches of the car for me that I went through. Mine's may be different than someone else, but I hope you like this video. I hope you subscribe to the page, and I hope you share this video to get this stuff out there into the Benz world, especially to the CL and S Coupe community. We just such a rare, oh, I can't say it again. We just such a rare crowd. Signing off one more time, Benz man.